Today, I am here to discuss the events of 9/11 and the lasting impacts of this act of terrorism. By doing this, I conducted an interview with my mother who witnessed the attacks live on television. I asked some personal questions that would help me and other people who did not experience these attacks develop a better understanding of how 9/11 impacted the ordinary citizen living in this tri-state area. Some of my questions for my mother included inquiries about how the media handled informing the public about the attacks. For my mother and for many other U.S. citizens, the media was how people heard about the events of 9/11. This led me to make a claim that throughout history, the media has always played a crucial role in informing the citizens on current events in the world. On September 11, 2001, a total of 4 planes were hijacked by terrorists who were part of Al-Qaeda in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania. In New York, 2 planes hit the Twin Towers in New York City, where thousands of people went to work every day. Another plane was hijacked in D.C. and ended up flying into the Pentagon. In Somerset County, Pennsylvania, another plane was taken over by members of Al-Qaeda and crashed into the ground. On this day, about 3,000 people died as a result of these attacks, and over 6,000 people were injured.
What was your immediate reaction when you heard about the 9/11 incidents in New York, D.C., and Pennsylvania?
My immediate reaction was one of shock and fear, and I had walked outside just to walk outside, but just to get some fresh air, and I ran into someone who was walking his dog who did not know what was going on, and I will never forget the look in his eyes when I was the one that told him what had happened.
How did you hear about the attacks?
We heard about the attacks because I had turned the TV on at 9 o'clock, shortly after 9, because Jacqueline liked to watch the cartoons Clifford. And as soon as we turned on the TV, the news stations had already cut in, and at that time we saw the second plane hit the second tower.
Did you think it was a terrorist attack or an accident when you first heard about the incidents? Why?
I thought the incident was an accident because in our lifetime, there have been a few planes that have hit skyscrapers in Manhattan, and we thought it was another event like that.
How long did it take for the world to realize that it was a terrorist attack and not an accident?
I think we realized it was a terrorist attack once the second plane hit the second tower, and then for sure once the Pentagon was hit, so within the hour.
Did you know any people who were in the Twin Towers or near them when the attack happened? How did this make you feel?
Yes, we knew many people that worked either in the towers or around that area of Manhattan, like many people from this area, and we were very concerned for our friends, so we tried contacting people, but we could not get through. The phone lines were down.
How did the media cover the events of the day?
There was continuous coverage of the events. No matter where you went, we walked down to a restaurant because we were on vacation, and there were just the TVs were everywhere. Everyone was peeled to the screen, and it was on day and night. It was just constant coverage. And then we heard of the plane had gone down in Pennsylvania, and the media just continued.
Based on the answers I received from my mother, it seems like the media played a crucial role in informing the public about the events of 9/11. Without the television, radio, or newspaper, there would be no way for people to know about current events. This has been a trend throughout history where citizens in the United States rely on the media for getting information about certain current events. For instance, during World War II, U.S. citizens relied on the radio to hear about the initial attack from the Japanese on Pearl Harbor and to hear updates throughout the war. Here is a clip from a radio announcement where many Americans heard about the attack for the first time.
From the NBC newsroom in New York, President Roosevelt said in a statement today that the Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, from the air. I'll repeat that. President Roosevelt says that the Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor in Hawaii from the air.
With modern-day technology, many people were able to not only hear about the 9/11 attacks, but they also were able to see live footage of the events. Some people, like my mother, were even able to see the plane hit the second tower live. In this instance, the people working in the media and the people at home learned about the second attack at the same time. Here is some footage of the news reporters watching and discussing the hit of the second tower.
About the one that's westernmost?
Let's see. Yes, sir.
So it's coming out on the north side and the east side of the building of the westernmost tower.
That's correct.
You're over in Chelsea. Did you hear the explosion from
yes.
your position?
Yes, we did. As a matter of fact, we heard it, and because I was just like standing there, pretty much looking out the window, I didn't see what caused it or if there was an impact.
So you have no idea right now?
There's another one. Another plane just hit. Right. Oh my gosh! Another plane has just hit. It hit another building.
Were you afraid for your safety when you heard about the attacks, especially considering our proximity to New York City?
I was slightly afraid, but as I said, we were out of state, so we were not anywhere near New York. Transportation had come to a halt in some areas, so we were a little bit concerned about that, but within about 2 days, the ferries and flights were running.
What were your opinions on the government's initial reaction to the terrorist attacks, as in invading Iraq and Afghanistan?
We definitely supported the invasion because that was the information that we had, and we felt that our presidential administration made the best decisions based on the information that we had at the time regarding terrorism.
Do you think the measures taken now to ensure safety from terrorism on transportation are strong enough, or should they be strengthened any further?
I think that the safety measures prior to 9/11 were very loose. I think that the current security measures are good, but I would not mind them being even more stringent, even if it takes us more time, out of our, if it's inconvenient for us, that's fine. I just think that no matter what we can do to keep these people off the planes is important.
Do you think that the U.S. government is doing the best it can to defeat terrorism? Why or why not?
I think the U.S. is doing the best job they can with the intelligence we have to defeat terrorism and further protect the citizens of our nation. However, the government needs to, or we need to as a nation, figure out what's happening with the lone wolf terrorist and how we can better identify those individuals from causing problems in the country.
After doing this interview and other research about 9/11, I now have a more accurate understanding of how the people in America really felt as a result of the 9/11 attacks and how the media handled the events of the day. The history textbooks do not go into detail about the reactions or emotions of the people following certain events, but through interview and conversations, we, as a culture, are able to have a better understanding about certain events and their lasting impact. The events of 9/11 caused the U.S. citizens to be very opinionated on the topic, and I think it is important that we discuss the differences in opinions on current events into the future.